welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you my take on what I think the best tips and tricks for makeup beginners are. I am going to show you how I got this really simple look. So let's get into it. When you decide you are going to start wearing makeup, the first thing that I think everyone should think about is your skincare regimen. When you wear makeup, you'd never want to fall asleep with your makeup on, especially if you have nice skin and you're just wearing makeup, you know, to feel a little fancy. You wouldn't want to wear makeup and then it cause you to break out. So before I start this makeup, I put on Clinique's Dramatically Different Moisturizing Lotion. It doesn't matter what moisturizer you use, so you're probably going to want to start with a foundation. For beginners who are starting to wear makeup, if you have beautiful skin, let your skin shine. If you're not comfortable wearing foundation, just go ahead and skip this step. But for those of you who are looking to invest in a foundation, whether it be drugstore or high-end, both will get the job done. A drugstore brand that I like is Infallible. I think that it has really great coverage. Also, Fit Me foundation I've tried and worn. I think there's one, there's an Almay foundation. I'm not exactly sure if there's like another name for it, but I know that the brand is Almay. It is so good. I actually compare it to the Makeup Forever HD foundation. It does honestly the same coverage, just for a lot less money. If we're talking high-end, I do like the Makeup Forever HD foundation. That probably is my go-to foundation. Also, the Clinique Silk Skin foundation gives you great coverage, but is also really light on the skin. But when it comes to foundation and buying your first foundation, just go experiment and just play around, see what works for your skin type. When applying foundation, you can use your hands, you can use a beauty blender, or you can use brushes. But lately, I've just been really falling in love with brushes. Ones that are kind of dense, like this one. This is an IT Cosmetics brush number 7. I like that it's double-ended, so if you decide to invest in something like concealer, this end is great for that, but I think this end is great for buffing out foundation. Make sure that you blend up close enough to your hairline so that you don't have just, you know, a straight edge on your forehead, and always make sure that you blend down around your neck, because you wouldn't want a harsh line right over your jawline, so that everyone can see the difference between your makeup and your bare skin. Foundation just gives you a nice overall coverage and gets rid of any discoloration, and then you're ready to go. The next thing that I think all beginners should be aware of is that there is such a thing as translucent powder. This is a powder that is not translucent. There is color in it, as you can see, and when you apply this, if you apply too much, it will start to look cakey. That is why I think, especially for beginners, if you don't need a great deal of coverage, definitely invest in a setting powder. This is the Ben Nye Natural Set Colorless Powder, and it is just such a fine powder. It moves across the skin effortlessly. You don't need a lot of product. It'll go a long way, and it kind of just saves you from looking cakey. If you feel like maybe you do need the extra coverage, you definitely could invest in a powder. I think the first powder I ever bought was it was like the Sephora, just like their basic face powder, and I still to this day love that powder. A powder is just going to help you throughout the day to soak up the essential oils that are coming out of your skin. And also, if you need more coverage, a colored powder will give you more coverage. As you can see, I'm just blending out a little bit of the Infallible powder all over my cheekbones and on my temples, under my jawline, over my nose, just to give my skin a little bit of life, a little bit of color. You're going to want to apply this with a fluffy brush like so. If you want to invest in one good fluffy brush, I suggest getting a big fluffy brush like this one. This is the MAC 150 brush. It does not have to be a MAC brush. I actually got this as a gift. I know that MAC can be expensive, but I would get a big fluffy brush because you could do a lot with it. You could do translucent powder. You can, you know, use one edge of it and put your contour on, your blush. Here's another example of a brush, of a powder brush. This one's just a bit more flat. You could see that this one is a bit fluffier. This brush is more flat. This brush could be nice to apply under your eye because it's not as round. It could be nice to get really in there and create a sharper line for a contour. But any fluffy, not dense brush would be really good for a powder. So the next thing I want to talk about is eyebrows. I myself have pretty thick eyebrows, so day to day I don't fill in my brows. But if you have naturally beautiful brows, let them rock. Maybe put some brow gel in them just to keep them in place. A nice trick that I've learned is you can actually take hairspray and a spoolie brush and run through your brows, and it will do the same thing that a brow gel will do. But if you do want to fill in your brows, you can use eyeshadow, powder, you can use gel. In this video I used Morphe brushes, eyebrow palette, and the nice thing is that it has a nice range of colors and also the little clear gel mix on the sides, so you're able to create your own color. A trick that I learned from my Uncle Drew is that if you take a brush and you start at the end of your nose, go straight through your inner corner, that's where your brow starts, and then if you go straight from your nose and then halfway through your eye, it'll take you to the arch and the highest part of your brow. And if you take it to the outer corner of your eye, it will mark the longest part of your tail of your eyebrow, and you can just mark those 3 points. And what I like to do is brush all my hair down and draw a line connecting those dots, and then all hair up and filling in any sparse areas, and then again just giving a nice brush through your brow. You could add a brow gel if you want, but that's really, I think, the best and easiest way to learn how to fill in your eyebrows. The next thing I want to cover is eyeshadow. When you're starting out makeup, I think that having a blending brush and a flat shadow brush probably will get you exactly where you need to be. So I was using colors in the Naked Basics palette, Ultimate Basics palette, these two right here, which are Commando and Tempted. You just want something that will create a shadow effect. So you could take a blending brush and take shadow, and you're going to apply this all over your eye, lid, and into your crease. Where your lid ends and your crease begins is really easy to find if you look straight. You can see that there's always a little bit of an indent right here. If you just push a little bit into your bone, you'll feel exactly where the inset is. Then you're going to want to take a flat shadow brush, which is really convenient for applying shadow on your lid or smaller areas. The nice thing about this Naked Ultimate Basics palette is that yes, it might be a little bit pricey. However, I really do feel like it has every color you would need, not only for basic makeup, but just for makeup in general. This is by far my favorite neutral palette. So once you have a nice shadow shade in your crease and a lighter color on your lid, you also might want to highlight your brow bone with powder. So after you have a nice shadow in your crease and a light color on your lid, you can also highlight your brow bone. And what this does is it just accentuates your brows and it makes them look a little bit lifted and cleaner. So I'm just taking the same shadows that I used on my lid, and with the flat shadow brush, I'm applying this right under my eyebrow where I drew in those lines. The next thing that I want to cover that may not be considered beginner's makeup, but I feel like it is important to mention, is eyeliner. There are so many different types of liners, so let's go through. There's liquid liner, which I find to be the most difficult. Sometimes it could just get a little messy. If you're attempting eyeliner for the first time, maybe give pencil eyeliner or gel eyeliner a chance first. Gel eyeliner I think is the easiest to apply because you apply it with a brush, and I just think it gives you the most control because you can use a really fine-ended brush and get really close to your lash line with it. So gel usually comes in a little pod in all different colors, and you dip your brush in and then you can just draw the line straight on. But then there's also pencil eyeliner, which is probably the second easiest type of liner to apply in my opinion. And all it is literally eyeliner in the form of a pencil that you could sharpen, and again, it allows you to get really close to your lash line. What I showed you in this video is dipping a brush into a dark shadow and just drawing straight across your eyelid. I think this is a safe way to start because you need to get familiar with the shape of your own eye, and powder is easy to correct. You could just take more powder and cover it up really easily, or even with the Q-tip it'll come right off. So I showed you guys that in the beginning, but I know some people want to know how to do a wing liner. So my little tip and trick for wing liner is if you take a brush and you go from your outer corner up to the end of your tail and you draw a straight line. From there, you could go from the edge and the point of your wing and draw right back down to your eyelid. and then I go back and I draw a line right across my lid, nice and thin, and then I connect it all together and fill in my wing. And it works every time. Some people like to use tape, but I seriously think that if you practice your eyeliner this way long enough, you'll be able to achieve a wing like this without even having to use a guide. Next, you're going to watch me curl my lashes. My rule of thumb is just hold the curler, not too hard. You don't want to damage your lashes too much. Just a nice little crimp on your lashes for 5 seconds is how long I count. And it'll give you a nice curl. Next, I'm just applying some mascara. And when it comes to mascara, everyone finds their favorite mascara. It's really just a matter of experimenting. My OG favorite mascara will forever be Benefit They're Real. I just think that the brush is so fine and doesn't clump. It gives you long lashes. I love it. But when applying mascara, I always look down into a mirror. You want to look down because you don't want to get any mascara residue onto your eyelids. You want to look down, and I just, in a horizontal motion, brush through my lashes back and forth while twisting the mascara wand. If your eyelashes do clump, don't go back in with the mascara wand and keep brushing, keep brushing. Get a clean mascara wand if you have, or any sort of brush. I know that there are some like metal mascara wands that you can brush through your lashes. Just be careful, don't poke your eye out. But while your mascara is still wet, go through and finagle them with a clean mascara wand so you're not adding more product. You're actually just pulling product out that is causing the clumping. Also, if you get any mascara on your eyelid, do not touch it while it's wet. It will only smear. Wait until it dries and then get a dry Q-tip and brush it off. And more times than none, it'll come off in one swipe, nice and clean. It won't ruin your eyeshadow. Starting out, you probably want to start with a clear gloss or maybe a light pink or a nude because it takes some getting used to with color on your lips. I went ahead and applied MAC's Prep and Prime. You can use a chapstick, anything, Vaseline. Just make sure you're moisturizing your lips, especially if you're going to put product on them. And then I went in with an Anastasia nude lipstick. And let me get the color for you. This color is Honey Matte Lipstick. Of course, there are other additives when it comes to makeup. You can add more eyeshadow. You can add shadow to your lower lash line. You could do lower bottom mascara. You could do more contouring. I skipped out on concealer. I don't feel it's necessary for a beginner to wear concealer, but if you have under eye circles that you really want to cover, you could always invest in a concealer. A lot of people say that concealer should be 2 shades lighter than your foundation. I would say maybe 1 shade lighter than your foundation, or even if it matches your foundation but just gives you more coverage, that's totally fine too. Make sure that you set that with powder, maybe even the translucent powder so that it doesn't crease on you. Did I mention blush? There's so much makeup, guys, but if you're going for a natural look and you're just starting up and you want to learn, I think that the products I've gone over are probably the most essential to have in your makeup bag. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions or suggestions, let me know what you want to see. But I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.